Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today we're taking a look at the 2022 Illinois football spring game that I wasn't planned on making a recap video for. That being said, not much to do on a Thursday night. Thought I'd click on the Big Ten Network, and I watched Tommy DeVito go up the field 3 out of his 4 first possessions to score touchdowns. The defensive starters were impressing me. I thought I might as well jump on, give you guys a 10-minute thought on the thoughts, opinions that I had of this team. I had to do a little bit more research since I didn't do much research before the game. Who are some of these players were? Because I know they're losing a lot of guys. I mean, specifically, let's just get into the recap real quick. But before we do, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the support. Over 800 subscribers on the channel. If you guys are a fan of the Illini football team, the Big Ten college football scene, or just college football in general, feel free to subscribe to the video if you guys are liking the content. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's get into this spring football recap. I want to close that ad, but I don't know how. All right. Let's start with the quarterback. Obviously, losing Brandon Peters. It was not a very pretty offense last year. Very, very bland, very run heavy. They bring in Tommy DeVito, a grad transfer from Syracuse, who's out of the 2017 class. So this guy's played a lot of football. Was actually, I think, the 13th rated pro quarterback recruit, above guys like Mac Jones. So he has some pedigree coming in. I think they like his legs. He can use his legs a little bit. And they're running a little bit more of an up-tempo pro-style offense. But he looked in command and he looked accurate. And that's a lot more than they could say about kind of the quarterback, especially Brandon Peters was last year. Connected with Isaiah Williams on a couple passes, looking really good. But what I think the strength of this team was, and what the strength of the offense was last year, not that the offense was all that good, was their running game. And I think they have one of the better two-headed monsters in the Big Ten and maybe even college football. Chase Brown, a guy that I really like. I thought he might have been able to go to the 2022 NFL draft. Decides to come back, 1,000-yard rusher from the year before, had 2 games over 200 yards. Pair him up with Josh McCray. So Chase Brown, a little bit of a smaller back with a little bit more burst. But don't get me wrong, he runs the ball hard. This is a guy that I watched kind of in our 2021 summer scouting. I liked his game a lot. Josh McCray, hadn't really heard of him before this year, true freshman last year, an absolute bruiser of a back. So Chase Brown, Josh McCray, both looked really, really good. I expect Chase Brown to get more of the touches because I think he's the more complete back, has a little bit more of that explosive game that you look for. But Josh McCray is more than capable, and I think they balance each other out really well. Now, what you needed to make sure is how's that offensive line look? They're losing a lot of guys. I believe I was reading 4 out of the 5 starters outside of, I believe, Alex Pozlowski is gone. They go to the junior college transfer portal for Isaiah Adams and Zy Chrysler, 2 absolute mammoths of men, and they both looked really good. Isaiah Adams was playing left tackle. He looked awesome, and I thought Zy Chrysler also looked really good. Now, this is a team that's going to have to run the football because they don't have a ton of weapons on the outside. However, that running game looked phenomenal today. They move in bodies, and if you move bodies for guys like Chase Brown and Josh McCray, you're going to have a successful run game. That's going to be key. Obviously, Brett Bielema loves to run the football from his days back, Wisconsin and Arkansas, and I'm very excited to see what he can do with this group. Now, on the outside, I noted they don't have a ton of playmakers. However, Isaiah Williams, he was a quarterback to start his career there. He's probably the best athlete on the field. Kind of like Kendall Hinton was at Wake Forest a couple of years ago. Quarterback who just wanted the ball in his hands. Now he switches positions to wide receiver. He's electric. He had a drop, but then he also had a touchdown. Easily Tommy DeVito's favorite target of the day. I expect Isaiah Williams to have 750 to 1,000 yards this year and kind of provide a little bit of a spark on the outside in terms of being a playmaker on the outside. So this offense looked good good on the run, and then getting it to a playmaker like Isaiah Williams, it could set up for a much better offense than you saw in the 2021 season. And now looking over to the defense, this is where the strength of this defense was. However, on the defensive side of the ball, they're also losing a lot of guys. No Owen Carey, Jake Hansen, a guy who I believe stayed 6 years there, was like one of their leading tacklers in program history, was getting banged up. They're losing their top 2 sack producers from last year. However, I thought the defensive line also looked good. it's important to note that the ones were working against the twos on defense and the ones on defense were working against the twos on offense. So you expect the offense and the first teams to kind of dominate, but they did. They did what they were supposed to do. A guy that really jumped out at me, obviously, Keith Randolph was not playing, was Jazon Newton, number 4. He's kind of a three tech. Looks like he can rush on the edge pretty well, but working inside him, he's just a better athlete than some of those interior guys. Beat a couple guys, had a sack, a nice little swim move. I expect him to have a really, really productive year. Could be a 6.5, 7 sack guy for the Illini this year. Very excited about his game. I thought the linebackers were also kind of running around making some plays. The guys I want to talk about, though, and what I was most excited about is that secondary. Obviously, losing Kirby Joseph, I believe he had 6 interceptions. So a big guy in terms of takeaways. Who's going to replace him? You saw Kendall Smith, that free safety, ball hawking, had a nice pick. Would have taken it to the house if they didn't blow the play dead. He's got some good length, obviously some good instincts. Made a play on the ball. The guys who are I should say, flashing the most in this game for me was Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback, number 31. Really, really physical. He has great length. You could say the same thing for Tavion Nicholson, too. Two guys that have long arms are going to get their hands on the receivers. Devin Witherspoon, I think, had 2 pass breakups and 1 target that the wide receiver couldn't even get a clean release. He just got his hands on him, kind of stuck him, and the guys couldn't even get off the press. They're a good physical secondary. And then kind of the X factor, Sidney Brown plays strong safety. He kind of seems like he plays that star. Walk him up in the box. He looks like he could be a linebacker. I mean, this dude looks like a Greek god. Really, same with his twin brother, Chase Brown. They're really built, put together guys, thick lower half. Sidney Brown, I think, is going to be kind of this leader of the team. He's going to kind of play everywhere. Honestly, reminded me of a little bit of how Notre Dame used Kyle Hamilton. Obviously, Sidney Brown, not the length and the athleticism that Kyle Hamilton has, but in terms of how they like to use him, just all over the plate. He can play that cover 1 deep safety role, but he's also very good in the box, coming up, taking on blockers, and playing downhill against the run game too. This was a team I was not expecting. I'm kind of a little bit overwhelmed because I put a lot of prep into the spring games that I do. I did not put a lot of prep into the Illini team. I knew a little bit about him because I follow the Big Ten a lot. I'm a big Michigan fan, if you guys are new to the channel. So I follow the Big Ten pretty closely. However, not really the Illini, as they have kind of struggled the last couple of years. But Brett Bielema is a coach that I really like. I like the culture that he brings. And I absolutely loved what I saw from the Illini in the spring game this year. So if you guys are an Illini fan, I think we might be talking a little bit more about them than I thought we were kind of in the summer and leading into the 2022 college football season. So if you guys like the content, you guys like talking about ball specifically in the Big Ten, this is the channel to be. Go like the video, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for checking out the spring recap. And hey, the Illini, they're going to be a team to watch in the Big Ten West because they are a very, very underrated team in a Big Ten West that's not very good. You saw Iowa. Iowa comes out of the Big Ten West, and their quarterback situation is wonky. They're losing a lot of guys on the defense side of the ball too. So the Big Ten West to me is really, really wide open. I think Wisconsin's probably the preseason favorite in my eyes. But teams like Nebraska, teams like Illinois, these teams were hanging in with a lot of good teams. Obviously, Illinois beating Penn State last year. They're a good team. They can win some football games in the Big Ten. I'm excited to see what they can do. The junior college transfers on the offensive line are absolute madness. And if Illinois can establish the run and kind of get out to the perimeter with Isaiah Wilson, I really like this team. I think they'll be solid on defense from what I saw. Excited about this team. Thank you guys for checking it out. And we'll be back with some more spring games, some 2022 NFL draft content later. Peace, y'all. Thanks for watching.